siblings can get quite annoying.
Very relatable.
Yeah. Hope you're watching.
No. And I mean, I think that all comes from the fact people want to be here, which is
Absolutely.
again what it comes down to, and the main theme at the university, I'd even say. Our
Dear
assignment.
lecturers, please do not make your students use SketchUp.
Thank you, Mara. Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to another CoEs Couch episode. My name is Finnlo and Will. I'm a Year 2 event student at College of Esports and producer for everything inside the studio. We'll get to that a bit later. Joined by...
I'm Will. People know me as Mero, because why use my actual name? And I'm also an event student, first year though. And I'm assistant producer on the broadcast.
And joining us, as always, on every single podcast is our good friend Stanley, who... Will, you have the pleasure of holding during this podcast.
And joy.
Take great care of him, because we all love Stanley here. Stanley's our little mascot inside the studio, and he's a great friend of everyone who comes here.
He doesn't get kicked at all.
So before we get on to anything, I think it's worth mentioning that we had another podcast planned for today, and we had our great friends, uni students, our fellow students, Kevin and Tyler, on the podcast, and they had a great chat about Pal World and Tekken and whatnot. Sadly, the audio was not recorded for that. So,
my bad.
Me and Mero, here we are. We're going to talk to you about a whole load of stuff. We're going to mostly focus on what happens inside our studio and what we get up to a lot during our uni hours. I mean, I might even say I spend more time here than in my actual lectures.
Yeah, in the last week, I've probably spent more time here than lectures. And even more time than I do spend at my accommodation. So.
Yeah, so we're a committed bunch, I'd say. So, yeah, let's just get going, shall we? So I'd like to talk about the podcast, the CoEs Couch, and the industry podcast to get going. I mean, we've had the idea of a podcast in the making for a while now.
Yeah, well, we have. It's been quite a few months now. I think we came to the conclusion that making 2 series is better than one. Make one centered around the uni and the students, and then make one centered about the industry, and get guests in. I believe our last industry podcast, the first one, was with Foxtrot.
Yeah, so last week, Tuesday, we had the Foxtrot podcast, which I personally love myself. I think Louis did a great job. Foxtrot was an amazing person. And then, so today we've got a CoEs Couch, which is more, chill talk about the industry. So talk about the university, talk about the stuff we do. And then next week, we have our special guest. I think we can leak it, Do you want to leak it for the viewers?
Sure. It's MZ.
Emma Rose.
Yep.
Which is, she's the new community manager at British Esports, and overall great person, and honestly a massive... Gold medalist even, but tune in next week, Tuesday at 1 o'clock to find out more about that, obviously. So the podcast, we started on it quite a couple months ago as an idea, and it never really got running.
Yeah.
And I think slowly but surely we realized, all right, it's really not that hard. Let's sit some people down and chat about it. And here we are, I guess. And then, of course, we work with our students to get feedback on the podcast. And I mean, this episode is already different to our last CoEs Couch episode. I don't know if you want to expand on that.
The last CoEs Couch was quite sort of just about uni life. And how the first semester went. This one's specifically going to be centered around the broadcast and production team and what we do and the projects we work on, such as this podcast.
And the length of the podcast is different.
Oh, and we've decided to make the length a bit shorter. It's meant to be the short snippets of just how the students are doing different projects. Just snippet of what happens here.
Yeah. So we've decided to go from an hour podcast to 30 to 45 minutes. I don't know how long it's going to be. We'll see how long we manage to waffle about all sorts of stuff. But our industry podcast, we're aiming to keep an hour because the guests showing up have a lot to talk about, and we want to, as Louis said last week, pry every single bit of information out of them.
Squeeze them dry.
Exactly. So that's... Ethically, exactly. As so that's why this one's going to be a bit shorter than the other ones. Of course, if you do have any feedback, anyone you'd like to see on the podcast, just drop us a comment, and we'll have a look at that. Loads of
or tweet at us.
Tweet at London_Legion, or
isn't it official at the end?
Not on Twitter, no.
Not on Twitter.
And
then
we've got at Finnlo of course, and at Mero31, obviously.
Yep.
You'll find us anywhere. So the podcast has been running for a good 3 weeks now, and we've got
the third week of filming. Yeah,
and we've got some lined up, and some very special guests coming in, which just keep an eye on our socials. You'll see them pop up over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
and I've been doing the job of running it, setting it all up, and you've been an amazing help with that. We'll talk about what you do.
Apart from today.
Yeah, well, because here we are, right? We'll talk about what you do in the studio in a second, but I essentially find people who want to do it, get them together, plan a date. So it's essentially producing the show, which is what I'll do in our other topics in a minute as well. And we get people to come in. We make talking points together. We see if talking points are correct. We plan all that together with our social media manager at College of Esports, Bryony, who helps out with that, make sure everything we talk about is good to talk about. And then, maybe tell what happens once we're actually in the studio and everyone's here.
I mean, when we're in the studio for broadcasts, we get together and we, attempt to do a test stream beforehand. Everyone in their places, everyone at stations, just making sure all cylinders are firing.
Mm-hmm. And for the podcast specifically, what's your role in the
podcast? It's my job to just, I'm cutting between POVs, apart from today. Making sure, everyone's in the right position, no one's slouching or hands over their faces. Because I can't do close-ups when they're...
So you kind of manage the close-ups, what we're looking at, and if you see in the other podcast cutting between close-ups, the live, that's what Mero's doing.
If it looks janky, it's not my fault.
Probably is your fault, but that's that. Well, we won't blame anyone specifically, obviously. So the podcast's been running now. I think it's a really easy way for us to get content out and get people to see more about College of Esports, but also the industry in specific in itself with our industry podcast, and it allows students to come on, meet industry people, talk to each other as well, because our uni is expanding quite rapidly, which means not everyone knows everyone. So getting students on the couch, getting to chat about what they like is a good way to.
I think they contrast very well the two series. CoEs Couch has the students that are inexperienced but learning, and then you've got these industry professionals that have a wealth of knowledge and experience that can just, just enhance the students that you will see are learning.
Yeah, well, the students, and it allows people from the outside to learn more about the industry and hopefully learn something, which is in the end our goal. Moving on for our podcast, there's a lot of other things to do in the studio. Where do you want to start?
Let me just start with Student Champs. It's our big thing.
Student Champs. So what is Student Champs? You've played in Student Champs yourself?
I played Overwatch Student Champs for 2 years. I think 2021.
What college were you in?
Loughborough College.
Loughborough College. So you've now experienced both the playing of Student Champs and working behind the scenes. Yeah. So what do we, maybe explain what we do here in the studio for Student Champs?
So every Wednesday we stream one of the games for the Open series, Open circuit. I think it's League, Val, Rocket League, and Overwatch. Not only that, but we've also got new Thursday broadcast as well, where we do.
We'll get on the Student Champ Cups in a minute. Yeah. So Student Champs is British Esports, who is the main esports body in the UK. They run a tournament for colleges, where colleges can play against other colleges in loads of different games. And we've got the pleasure, honor, some might even say, to broadcast that from our studio. Yeah. We've got 50-odd students involved in that, and 10 to 15 live in our studio during the broadcast. So my role in that is to produce it as well, and I make sure everyone's there on time. I make these rundowns, we call them, which essentially shows what segment is at what time, what it's going to be about, how long it's going to take. And
the call sheets as well. Who's in what role,
Yeah, exactly. So it's a lot of communication, a lot of chasing people up, which... I'm sure I can be annoying sometimes. I mean, that's something Foxshop said last week, right? Go watch that. Foxshop, he had a really good chat. Then you have a whole load of different roles, if I do say so.
Oh, yeah. I sort of bounce around depending on what week it is. For Overwatch, I do casting. And then for most other games, I do vision mixing, which is once again changing perspectives and making sure the transitions are at the right time. From stings, they will transition across from like the desk of the hosts to the gameplay, and then back again, as well as making sure replays of clips that happen in the games go out on time as well. And for Apex, I'm now game director for the observers, so that they can make sure they're on the right POVs at the right times, and that they're not on the same POV as each other as well, because then it doesn't give much for the casters to focus on.
Yeah, so I mean, the goal of our studio is for people to get a whole lot of different experience about all kind of stuff in the industry, right? So what's quite important, that all of this is extracurricular. So all the students involved are doing this in their free time because they enjoy it, and because it's really good for CV portfolio building. And I mean, it has allowed me to have a lot of connections. We've done broadcasts for Formula E. Together with ProMod, we've worked. Well, ProMod's gone now, but we've worked together with EE, the broadcast company, where we've got some cool projects on the line. We can't tell anything. Actually, the Halo event we're allowed to talk about.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about the Halo event now.
Yeah.
Cut it out of the first CoEs Couch.
We did have to cut it out. Yeah, but I'd like to talk about the Halo event.
I don't know much about it either.
I don't know that much. But essentially, University Halo League, which is the university teams competing in Halo, they're going to be doing a LAN finals, which is an in-person finals, fully broadcast, and that's going to be at our university. Massive shout out to Reed for organizing that, and the Halo team at the uni for getting that running. But we're going to do broadcast for that, which is on the 23rd of March, I hope. I'm not wrong. If it's wrong, you'll see it on the screen somewhere. 23rd of March, we're doing a Halo event, and it's going to be broadcasted on European Halo League, and then that's our opportunity for people to get involved with an actual broadcast with a real audience, hopefully.
Hopefully. I think it'll be really good. Looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah, so that is one of the many cool projects along the line, and I mean, I just love the fact that students can come here and try completely different stuff, and the
interaction with the students has been really good. It's like every few weeks we got someone else trying out a new position and mostly liking it, I think. They really get dug in and want to know the role.
Yeah, it's part of commitment, right? And what makes me happy is that it's clearly students realizing that, hey, if I want to get a role in esports or get a job in esports, it's something you need to work hard for, and you don't always get paid, right? A lot of it is experience, and a lot of it is building your CV portfolio and essentially making you a worthwhile employee. Which everything we do in here adds onto that CV and that portfolio experience.
Oh, it's so good for your CV and portfolio. There's so much experience. Yeah,
and obviously the more you get involved with extracurricular stuff at the university, the more you'll get back from it in terms of rewards. So all that ends up being really good for your future, hopefully. I mean, don't know what's going to happen in like 3 years. We'll see when that comes along. Please don't say that, Mara. It wouldn't be good. So Student Champs, which is the main, so Student Champs Open, which is our main competition, and then since yesterday, actually, at the time of recording, we did our first Student Champs Cups Apex tournament,
which was a lot of fun, and it went really well for our first attempt. I think we had observers that weren't observing or hadn't observed Apex before, casters who hadn't casted Apex, and I think everyone performed really well for what was brand new experience for them.
Well, on top of that, it was behind the scenes, like our studio and our gallery had a completely different workflow. Because there are new graphics. We were having
new
graphics,
assets,
graphics implemented through Google Sheets, and close communication with British Esports, which is all new workflow and all quite useful to learn, but also quite stressful at the time.
There's more to do for Apex, but I think that's a bad thing. I think it means you get used to pressure, and more to do is probably a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, the main difference between Apex and our other Student Champs games is the amount of teams competing, right?
Yeah. It's, 20 teams? So 60 players?
Up to 30 teams.
Maybe I don't know the game.
No, 20 teams of 3. You're right.
Yeah,
Up to 20 teams of 3. I think we ended up having 13 or 14 each game.
I think it was 14 second and third game.
Mm-hmm. So that is a lot of students having to coordinate and get in positions. And as much as it's always chaos, I feel like that I thrive in chaos.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy it so much. I feel it's the most fun to just
have
everyone...
a lot of work, but I definitely enjoyed, I was darting around, pointing at what teams are doing what. It's like, over here. Now this one. You stay on this one.
Yeah. It was an interesting experience, but Student Champ Cups, of course, is also a bit different to normal Student Champs because it's not their main games, so they're short-to-run tournaments, and they're not over the entire year. There's just one semester.
Yeah.
Which means that the teams competing all try harder, almost, I'd always say, because there's more on the line, because if you don't play well, then there's not another chance to do it in the near future.
Yeah.
From our end, that comes with new graphics, new assets, and that all needs to be implemented.
Yeah.
And that combined with our student champs on the Wednesday and the podcast, which we record once, sometimes twice a week, depending on if we have any guests in, it is a lot of fun. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Is there any other things you do in the studio that I'm forgetting right now?
We do a lot of social media stuff with Bryony. We get talking heads in.
Probably seen them if you're watching this, to be honest.
Check out our TikTok, YouTube Shorts.
Well, not YouTube Shorts, do we?
I think so.
I'm not sure. I probably do, actually. Probably. I'm not sure. Yeah, so we... it's actually the same set we're using right now. Actually, I think I'd like to talk about that, the way we use our virtual set.
Yeah.
So,
that's a good idea.
Our studio is mostly brought to you by Storm Broadcast, which is Brainstorm. They're a broadcast provider, essentially, and they've been doing that for 30-odd years. And Carl, one of the owners who comes in here, helps us a lot. It's knowledge transfer, right? So he's got so much experience, and he helps the students learn our roles. And
he's very good.
Some of you might have guessed, but what you're seeing right now behind us is a virtual set. So it doesn't actually exist. We're sitting in front of a green screen, and there's lights all around us, and 1, 2, 3 cameras. And then behind the cameras is our gallery. And we use something called Infinity Set to operate all that, right? Yeah,
there's this virtual space, and I think we can just edit it to however we want. There's different sets for different things. This is our podcast /
the Talking Heads, the social media one.
Social media. And then we've got our British Esports one.
Mm-hmm.
It's got customizable banners on the walls so that you can put different champions or heroes or agents or miscellaneous hero name that the game chooses that isn't taken.
And I think another good thing about virtual sets is that it's not physical to a certain extent, if you get what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Like a physical studio would cost so much more than a virtual set in terms of it needs to be brought here, it needs maintenance, it takes up way more space that we really just don't have, right?
Oh, yeah. It's so efficient for what we want. It's very modifiable as well. I actually think it's probably better than a physical set now.
Oh, yeah, I'd agree. I mean, the beauty of being able to just put a different set behind you and still have all the camera tracking, all the camera movements, everything you'd have with a real set, if not more, you have with the virtual set. And it's lucky, and on the other hand, it's really, I mean, it's just really nice to have, right? But it's not easy to always use sometimes.
Oh, yeah. I think we spent at least 15 minutes trying to get the sofa in place.
Yeah, exactly.
So how did we do it last time? Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, stuff like that is part of it, right? So London Legion, we are both a part of. I was a part of. I played in the League of Legends team last year. We did an okay job. Like, it's new to see. They're tough opponents. And you played in the Overwatch team this year,
played
right?
in the Overwatch. I think we placed... If I say that wrong, the team actually that did place in that place is going to get annoyed. I think it's 21st or 27th. It's got like a one-ish symbol on the second digit. I think it was top 12%, I'm not too sure. Which is like okay for our first semester. We're not playing in spring though. We're going to play next year though.
Well, what's your experience been like being on essentially student run? For people that don't know and haven't seen our first episode, go watch it. Tim and Louis explain it brilliantly. But London Legion is the university's student run esports org.
Yeah.
So we do socials, we do streams, we do teams mostly, which is our main thing to go for. So we run our own esports org, right? And we've got probably like 20 odd teams for all different game titles. And we compete in Newell NSC, which are the university leagues. I'm just really quickly recapping what they talked about. And yeah, it's just a way for people to get in touch with the esports industry and the competitive side as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, what was your experience playing for London Legion? It was that?
I mean, I had pretty much, an amazing experience. I hope to do it next year as well. Getting to come into uni, sit next to people in scrim or play tourney matches, it's a different experience. You don't get if you're part of a team for scrimming or you're part of a online team with people in like France and Germany. But to get to be next to the people, it's just a whole different experience. I think not many places can offer, and just generally really good. So like a really good community you can form with your team and the managers, and you get to know everyone. If you've got a problem, it usually gets fixed quite quickly. It's just generally just a nice experience to have that is rare. It's not an opportunity you get.
I mean, for people who haven't visited our campus yet,
Which you should do.
Exactly. Feel free to come by sometime, obviously, because we've got like these amazing facilities for teams, and I'd love to invite you to our broadcast studio. I can't stop talking about it and all the stuff we do in here. And
open date should be on the website. Socials
at some point. Yeah. Socials, the website.
Come
find us anywhere. Yeah. So London Legion, our broadcast is a big part of it. There's a couple more projects coming out we can't talk about yet, but we will soon.
Or we can talk about it, edit them out, and then...
Well, that's a bit pointless then, isn't it? There's one thing I'd like to talk about with you, is that we're both on the same course, and we're both doing events management. My passion, in all honesty, came from the idea of working together with a team of fashion people and having an end product. So I remember watching Worlds, League of Legends Worlds, and being like, wow, that's so cool. I want to build towards something like that, right? And I could imagine myself sitting in a boardroom with people and thinking about how we can make this event perfect. And in all honesty, I've found that exact feeling in our broadcast room as the role of producer, getting people together and getting people to work on something they're passionate about. So I'm just curious, how did you end up choosing for events management?
I think I looked at all the courses, and because I did business for 2 years, I was, I thought about coaching first, and then I sort of thought, okay, well, are my skills, are they going to be able to be used elsewhere? But because this course is what it is, it's a business course, an event management course with esports, right? Esports is weaved in there.
It's worth noting that all our courses here are
transferable skills.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And for me, it was the right choice. It was what I synergized the most with. Being able to do, run a business, run an org, potentially run a production company. Right here.
What has it been like your first couple months at uni?
Oh, I had fun. I had a lot of fun. And I've learnt a lot as well. It's an amazing experience that, I'm really glad and thankful that I've been able to, do this.
Of course, we've both had the pleasure, I'll call it, of doing our SketchUp assignment.
Don't say that.
Which the SketchUp assignment is a controversial topic with the event management students, I'd say. So SketchUp is this 3D modeling program, and our assignment...
Dear lecturers, please do not make your students use SketchUp.
Thank you, Mero. SketchUp is this 3D modeling assignment where essentially SketchUp, I mean, in all fairness to it, it's a good program. It lags out sometimes, which isn't the most fun.
Apparently the fix is harder acceleration, but I'm not convinced.
Don't know if that's true, but essentially the assignment was to create an event space, 3D model it, and create your event in it.
Yeah.
So what I did is in the Velodrome, so our campus is inside the London Velodrome. I created a networking as almost like an ESI, right? Esports Insight, like that kind of event, networking, and there will be booths where you can talk to people and chat. And that's something that I thought would be different to other people because they did like an actual stage, an arena, and I ended up being quite happy with my final result. And I think learning to 3D model, and essentially what you're doing mostly is planning the event, right? So walking routes and essentially the logistics behind it all.
Your lighting systems, your sound systems.
In a practical manner, right? So what did you do for yours?
I did a standard stage, set up seating rows, and then you have gantry in the middle for, the footpath for people to get down. Quite simple, or what you would think of as simple as standard esports sort of arena. But I liked your idea a lot of making more of a conference type thing where it's more interpersonal, smaller, and more modular, I think, than what I did.
I mean, I think we've got the pleasure of being inside a 6,720
your options
stadium, right? Like, there's so much you can do with it, and we've so many events have been thought about doing in the center of the Velodrome, and just the possibility of having I mean, some of you might have seen League of Legends and Red Bull had an event in the Berlin Velodrome, I think it was, and it looked spectacular. I was like, oh, I want to do that here. How cool would that be?
I mean, the Halo event will be our first opportunity to...
The Halo event won't be in the center of the Velodrome. It'll be just in our uni.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah, unlucky.
I think October there's something.
There might be. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's definitely in the works. It's just such an amazing space, and the fact that we've got access to an event space like that while at university is, I mean, like it's uncomparable to other universities, and it's I mean,
it's such an opportunity. Just your options, the choices. You can do so much with it.
Yeah, exactly. What's it been like for you to move away from home and into London and kind of finding your independence? So I've moved from the Netherlands, but I'll let you speak first.
Yeah, I've not gone as far as you.
Yeah.
For me, it was quite fine. I think I was ready to sort of just, be independent. Siblings can get quite annoying.
Very relatable.
Yeah. Hope you're watching.
No, you can be nice to them. If you're watching Maro Siblings, we're so happy to have you. Please keep watching. He's not going to say anything mean about you anymore, I promise.
Okay, fine. But just getting away, I mean, I've been quite happy. Just getting away has been good for me. I mean, going back for Christmas, I was fine going back for a few days, but eventually, a few weeks there, I was like, I want to get back already.
Well, what's it like being in student accom?
I mean, my student accom has been quite good. I think it's best to go to the accommodation before you choose it, because if you get there and you're like, oh, I don't like this, well, choice words that we're not allowed to say.
It's a bit too late then anyway, is it? Yeah. I mean, for people watching who want to come to uni and want to know more about the accommodations, really it is doing a lot of research, because it's a different experience for everyone.
Go and see them. Go and have a look at, every website, every image you can find of them, and then choose. There's options. You got to just make sure it's the right one for you.
I think that is a general thing about university life. It's about being proactive, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think a main difference for being from at university compared to college is nothing's going to be given to you. So if you want opportunities, if you want to go and do stuff, if you want essentially to make the best out of your time here, go out and do it, right?
Yeah.
Don't wait for people to give you these opportunities. I mean, I think you've been really good at that.
I think so. I hope so. I mean, I've been on the Overwatch team, doing production, doing the podcast as well. I think I'm doing almost everything I can do.
I mean, this week you were in at like almost every day from 10,
I have been every
10
day.
to 6.
Yeah.
Actually, it's
every day.
It's chaos, right? But I mean, I love what I do here, and I do believe that it will hold a brighter future. So all the time it's being put in here, I already see some of the results from it, I guess, to a certain extent, right? So the contacts I've had, I mean, I've been speaking to some pretty major industry people, and we're going to get some of them on the podcast, so keep an eye on that. They'll be coming in over the next couple of weeks. But all of that is because I decide to spend a lot of time here and put in the work to get the results I want, right? So
there's a give and take. You give, and then you can take back the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it is really that's my main thing. I tell people that come into open days, come into colleges. If you're gonna come here, it's really important that you come here and want to get involved, right? I mean, when finding people to help out with anything we do in the studio, really, I never choose people who. I never go out and ask people. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't go like, hey, I've got this. Do you want to do this? I put out a general message saying, all right, guys, this is what's up. If you want to get involved, you need to send me a message. I'm not going to go begging that you come, right? And that's resulted in what I think has been a wholesome almost, like a very, very, very good working community inside the broadcast. And it's had people who want to be here, who want to show up, who want to put in the work.
Absolutely.
Instead of having people who are kind of forced to be there.
I think the working environment's very good because of that. I think everyone is friendly with each other. Everyone, knows what they're doing. They're committed. It's really good in general. Yeah,
and I mean, I think that all comes from the fact people want to be here, which is
absolutely
again what it comes down to, and the main theme at the university, I'd even say. And I'm sure if you're considering going here, it really, I recommend do it. First of all, do it because it is really, really good. But come here with the mindset of I want to get involved and I want to build a future for myself is what you're doing in the end.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think when you do that as well, you've got to, if it's something you're passionate about, if you're uncertain, I think just my best advice is just take the leap. Just go for it. It's not going to happen for you. You got to, be proactive and take it again. Proactive is a lot of...
Well, and it's all from passion, right? I mean, everyone here is here because they're passionate about esports, passionate about gaming, and they want a future in esports and gaming. And when you're passionate about something, it is easy. I mean, it's easier to put in the work and put in the effort because it is honestly a lot of fun.
Yeah. You don't want to do a job that you're not happy with. And it's the same thing for education and learning. If you don't care about maths, you have to sit through a maths test. I can't think of anything worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, probably some of my friends who are all studying maths watching, but
I just thought about that.
I don't disagree with you. I'll be honest. It's maths is not my speciality either. Yes. Do you have any final words before we start slowly closing out our little episode?
Just check out the socials and take a look at other options, the courses.
Come visit.
Yes.
Open days, check them out. Come have a look. I'm sure we'll both be here in the studio and we'll come have a chat. Say you saw us on the podcast.
All socials and website link will be in the description as well. So everything you can access from there.
Next week, as we said at the beginning, we've got Emma, MZ, together with one of our students, Aria, and they're going to be chatting about loads of stuff. It's a fun podcast.
It's very good.
If you're interested in inclusivity and mental health and the experience of joining the esports industry as a transgender woman. Yeah. It's a very good episode and I just generally recommend you watch it. It's a lot of fun.
Fascinating. Yeah.
Fascinating is the right word, exactly, yeah. Before we sign us out, quick shout out to Freddie. Freddie, who's been editing every single podcast.
Amazing, Freddie, thank you.
Freddie's been doing an absolutely brilliant job and this is before I'm gonna start talking about this is what I talk about, the productivity. Freddie's been sending me messages being like, hey, do you like this? Or, ooh, what do you think of this? Or, hey, we should do the podcast a bit shorter because it's different vibe. And just another one of those students who's going out of his way to really create a good future for himself. Definitely. All right, so I think that's it for this week. Last week was Foxshop. Go check it out. Next week, MZ, go check it out. All of them will be in their playlists on YouTube and in Spotify. You'll find them under our CoEs Couch title. Furthermore, if we plug anything else, check out our broadcast Wednesday, British Esports Champ.
Can we put my Twitter in as well?
It'll be somewhere in the description, Maro.
Thank you.
Wednesday, twitch.tv/British Esports 2. Thursday, twitch.tv/British Esports 2. Watch our broadcast, please. And reach out to any of us if you have any feedback, because I'd love to have feedback. And it's a way for everyone to learn and get better.
Thank you.
All right. Is that it? see you next week.
Stanley says bye.
Yeah, bye Stanley. Thanks for being here as always, and we'll see you next time.